It's time for another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas, the podcast covering the intersection of business, culture, entrepreneurship, and life in general here in the Ozarks. Whether you are considering a move to this area or trying to learn more about the place you call home, we've got something special for you. Here's our host, Randy Wilburn.
Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. I'm your host, Randy Wilburn, and today I have a special Thanksgiving episode for you. I don't have any guests. The only guest is myself, and honestly, this is just a episode to say thanks to all of my listeners, all of the people that have come on and been guests on the podcast, and everyone else that has supported my efforts to get this project off the ground. I Am Northwest Arkansas has truly been a blessing, most importantly to me, but as I talk to a lot of you out in the streets and wherever I meet you in and around Northwest Arkansas, I'm learning how much of a blessing this episode, or not this episode, but this show has been for you. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. I cannot believe that it has been, wow, we're almost 8-9 months now, and things are going strong and getting stronger still. And we have a lot of plans in the future. But before we get to all that, and I'll talk more about that in a couple of weeks when we do our Christmas, or we're going to call it a season's greetings episode. And I'm going to talk about some other things that we're going to be doing here at I Am Northwest Arkansas in 2020. Yeah, and I can't believe it. 2020 is almost here. And, it's the years fly by. So much is happening, and I'm sure a lot of you can concur with this unless you're really super young. But so much is happening in and around us, and we have to just can't blink. You really can't blink. And, I don't know what else to say, but just thank you to everybody that has supported what we're doing here at I Am Northwest Arkansas. And I just wanted to kind of go down the list of the highlights of the first 42 episodes, or 43 episodes actually, of I Am Northwest Arkansas. Actually, this would be the 43rd episode, but we started off with Omar Kasem, who is an outstanding individual. If he doesn't own half of Northwest Arkansas in the next 10 or 12 years, something will be terribly wrong. This guy is truly an entrepreneur's entrepreneur, and I'm excited for everything that he's doing with Con Queso and with Juice Palm and with his new pop-up quesadilla eatery that he does down on Dixon late at night for all those starving college students that want a good bite to eat and want something healthy. Omar is really making it happen. I also am so thankful for Beth Bobbitt at Crystal Bridges, the time that she gave to me, and just the exposure that she gave me to Crystal Bridges and exactly everything that's going on behind the scenes there makes me appreciate that place even more every time I come through and go down those elevators down and walk under that big old spider and walk inside the building. So proud to say that Crystal Bridges is part of my home. Had a chance to talk with my dear friend Mark Zweig. He is an entrepreneur as well, taken two different firms to the Inc. 500, 5,000 several times, and he's forgotten more than most of us will know when it comes to business, and I'm really thankful for him. I'm also thankful for Gary Head. He is my personal banker, but he's also just a really good guy. And as I interact with people around the community, nobody has a bad thing to say about Gary, and I really appreciate him. So, Gary, keep it up, and we're certainly praying for your dad. The next one is Kira Ramsey. Kira Ramsey is part of Appleseed's NWA, and they are one of the best kept secrets in Fayetteville. They're one of the best kept secrets in Northwest Arkansas, period. Appleseeds is a great organization that helps young people, exposes them to food, exposes them to community farming, and just a lot of things that normally young people aren't exposed to as much nowadays, like they are to Fortnite and Xbox and all the other electronics and social media that they are exposed to. And Appleseeds kind of brings it home for these young kids, and I'm really thankful for them. Daniel Hentz, the Wizard of Fayetteville and Bentonville and everything in between. I really appreciate he and his wife and all that they're doing to affect the community here in Northwest Arkansas. Of course, Jordan Wright from Wright's Barbecue. Man, that barbecue is killing. And I'm telling you, if you have not had it, you need to check it out. You need to check out episode 7 of the podcast. And Jordan will tell you all about his superhero origin story, how he got started, and all the amazing things that he's doing with those guys in Johnson. After that is episode number 8. And I got a chance to sit down with a man that I have a high respect for, and that's David Johnson. And he is the director of the Fayetteville Public Library. If you haven't been to it, you need to visit it. I think it is one of the crown jewels of our community. And yes, I say that community. Yes, it is in Fayetteville, but everybody from Bella Vista on down needs to come on down to Fayetteville and check out the Fayetteville Public Library. There is a new expansion taking place, and a lot of good things are happening there. And so I'm thankful for David. Chelsea Ware from What's Up Fayetteville. It's now just What's Up NWA, I think. And so Chelsea is great. She allowed me to come into her home and check out the sick house and see all the things that the young people are doing here in Northwest Arkansas. And she really has a thumbprint on how to create community with her Facebook group. So I definitely encourage you to check out What's Up NWA and What's Up Fayetteville. Chelsea Ware is a mover and a shaker, and she is going places here in Northwest Arkansas, and I really appreciate her. Next person up is Philip Taldo. If you have never talked to the unofficial mayor of Springdale, you need to talk to Philip Taldo. And I say that kind of jokingly because he's not the mayor, but you would think he is. I mean, he's actually he's almost like a de facto mayor for Northwest Arkansas. He knows all of the behind the scenes stories of all the things that are happening. He sits on the airport board. Phil's just a great guy. Everybody that I talk to, again, has nothing but great things to say about him as well. And so that episode is episode number 10 of the podcast. Episode number 11, I sat down with the folks from Komodo, which is an Asian scratch kitchen in Northwest Arkansas. And, you know, those guys are they're just doing some amazing thing with food and especially with Asian food. I've taken my family up there several times. They have some outstanding happy hour specials. They have live music, some entertainment, and just really, really good Asian food. Their pho, some people say pho, P-H-O, but it's actually pho. Their pho is second to none. And I couldn't ask for a better hearty soup, noodle soup in the middle of winter, and definitely check it out at Komodo. I spoke to Woody Bassett. He's an attorney here locally in Fayetteville, and Woody had a lot of information to share about the ins and outs of this area, how it's changed. He grew up here. He still lives here and is a pillar in our community. I also got to sit down with a good friend of mine, Chris Dinwiddie. Chris, I really appreciate you. Chris is a realtor with the Executive Real Estate Company, and his whole thing is making sure that buyers and sellers make the best decisions. And the thing I really like about Chris is that there are a lot of times when he will talk people out of buying a home, or even maybe talk them out of selling a home because it's just not the right time. And I like that about him because it's refreshing when you interact with a real estate agent that is focused on the consumer first. And then I got a chance to sit down with Dean Matt Waller, and a big shout out to Mark Zweig for making that connection for me. But Dean Matt Waller has an amazing story. He's an amazing individual. And I count it a privilege to have been able to connect with him and all that he's doing at the Sam Walton School of Business. Just an outstanding and phenomenal guy. Definitely want to check out episode 14 with Dean Waller because it was a lot of fun doing that episode. And he shared a lot of really great information about what he's doing and what he hopes to do in the future with the Sam Walton School of Business. And then this episode actually, I won't say changed my life because that sounds a little weird. It did kind of, but there's an episode number 15. It's called The King of Co-op with Mike Anzalone and Ozark Natural Foods. Now, The backstory is simply this. I've been a member of Ozark Natural Foods since I moved here in 2014, my wife and I. We love being able to get locally sourced items, and Ozark Natural Foods certainly does that. I reached out to them because I said, they're affiliated with Apple Seeds. Apple Seeds actually came out of Ozark Natural Foods. So I said, I'd love to talk with them. Mike granted me an interview, and we sat down and talked. And he said something to me at the end of that interview. He said, you should run for the board of Ozark Natural Foods. And at the time, I was like, I don't know if I should. And he said, yeah, well, if you do want to run, I suggest that you do. And if you do run, you need to get your application in because it's due tomorrow. That's right. It was like due 24 hours later. So I thought about it, prayed about it, and thought about it some more. And then I just decided to go ahead and run for the board. And lo and behold, I am now a board member at Ozark Natural Foods. So excited to be giving back to this community in more ways than one, and being on the board of this co-op has really, it was a blessing in disguise. It just worked out that Mike was even thought enough of me to suggest that I do that. And I got to tell you, folks, there is a lot of really good things coming at ONF. And so this is just a small plug for them. I cannot wait till we move into our new building there at the corner of Lafayette and College. It is going to be insane. Just stay tuned because we're going to do another episode with ONF talking about all the new things that they're going to be offering there at that new location. So stay tuned for that. Then episode 16, I got a chance to sit down with somebody. And at first I was like, well, how am I going to tie this into just, all things happening in Northwest Arkansas? And after meeting with her and sitting down and interviewing her, it all made perfect sense. And Erin Tarver she's an early childhood development specialist doing some, at Bright Horizons, doing some amazing things. And I was really taken by her, and I know some of her family members, and she's just really great people. And I'm very thankful for her. I also am thankful for a good friend of mine, Chad Coldiron. Chad is a former colleague of mine. We work together. We're still friends. I don't work at the same firm that he works at, but he is kind of like Mr. Fayetteville. And so I leaned on him for his expertise because I really wanted to get a picture of what Northwest Arkansas was like for somebody growing up here, that's a millennial and had something to share. And Chad is certainly that type of individual. He's just a great person, a great human being, and I'm thankful to have him as a friend, and I certainly do appreciate him. I also had a chance to talk with Tony Butner. Tony Butner is not from Northwest Arkansas, but he has been to Northwest Arkansas to talk about the prospect of Northwest Arkansas potentially being a blue zone. He and his brother wrote a book about blue zones. They talk about blue zones all over the world. And when you think about blue zones, just think about places where people live long, they live a healthy environment, where community is important, and places like Okinawa, Japan, and Loma Linda, California are blue zones. And, there's talk of a lot of aspects of a blue zone are right here in Northwest Arkansas. And you should check out that episode. That's episode number 18 of the podcast. Episode 19, I sat down with Hannah Withers, who discussed all of the ins and outs of starting a business and getting a food business or a bar or a speakeasy, if you will, off the ground. And Hannah is the proprietor for Maxine's Tap Room there on Block Street in Fayetteville. She's also part of the Leverett Lounge with her husband. And I'm going to tell you right now, between both of those places, you've got everything that you need. Good drinks, good food. Definitely check them out. And I really appreciate Hannah. Bert Hanna from Hannah's Candles is another person that Mark Zweig turned me on to. And Bert was an outstanding guest on the podcast that really shared his story. And he jumped out of school at the U of A just 9 hours short of graduation. And his story is simply amazing. You need to listen to episode 20 of I Am Northwest Arkansas. Episode 21, I had a chance to sit down with Joseph Suarez. And Joseph Suarez is a local individual in the community. I've gotten to know him over a period of time. And it's funny because Joseph has friends that are friends of mine, and there's just that cross-pollination of friendship here. Everybody has 2 degrees of separation in Northwest Arkansas. That's the crazy thing. Whether you're in Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, there's like 2 degrees of separation. So that's the beauty of it. And I really appreciate and I'm thankful for Joseph. I wanted to also thank Clint Schneckloth. Clint Schneckloth is the pastor of Good Shepherd Lutheran Church right there at the corner of Rolling Hills in Old Missouri. Clint is also my neighbor, just an outstanding individual, great man of God, and just doing some really great things in the community, and really just has a heart for people. And I'm very appreciative of him. I also want to thank Kyle Kellums. I had a chance to sit down with Kyle, and most of you know him as the voice of public radio here at KUAF here in Northwest Arkansas. And Kyle and I have had a chance to sit down. We've had a chance to sit down and just talk at length, even beyond just doing the podcast, and just such a great story for a local radio man that has just always given back to this community. And certainly want to encourage you to listen to Ozarks at Large, whether you listen to it during the day when it comes on, or if you listen to the podcast. I encourage you to check it out. And the other thing that I didn't know about Northwest Arkansas, and I'm also thankful to know this, 2 people on the show shared this with me, but I didn't realize that there were a ton of apple orchards here in Northwest Arkansas. And the guys at Black Apple Crossing told me all about it. Leo, Orpin, Manny, those guys sat down with me and took me to school when it came to the loss of all the apple orchards that we did have here in Northwest Arkansas, and how they're slowly making a comeback because of these guys. Check out episode 24 to learn more about that. Tyler Clark is the director of the Single Parent Scholarship Fund of Northwest Arkansas. He is doing some amazing things, helping single parents and their families come out of poverty and move into prosperity. And I am really thankful for Tyler and for what he's doing, and just for his connections and friendship. And I really appreciate him, and certainly is somebody that I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds, because it's very bright. Speaking of bright futures, I got a chance to sit down with Dr. Bowtie Todd and his passion for people. Dr. Bowtie Todd, what is he? A director of diversity at J.B. Hunt, and really just an outstanding guy. And I had a chance to sit down with him, and we talked for over an hour, and he just gave me some really good insight on all the things that are happening here in Northwest Arkansas, and the people to connect with, and all the things that he's doing from a diversity standpoint. And he has a number of programs going on, and I'm just thankful for him. And then after Dr. Todd, we had Jeremy Gothrop, who has deep roots in Northwest Arkansas for a lot of reasons, but he's also one of the founders of the Roots Festival, which is a growing festival. I had a chance for the first time to hang out with his team and volunteer during the Roots Festival this past August. It was outstanding. The food was outstanding. The music was outstanding. But more importantly, the people were outstanding. And a lot of that has to do with Jeremy and the rest of his team. Jeremy is such a great guy, and so I'm very thankful for him. I'm thankful for Matt Cooper from The Preacher's Son. This dude can throw down. His kitchen is absolutely impeccable. His food is amazing. And if you have any type of dietary restrictions when it comes to gluten-free eating, this is the man to see. The Preacher's Son, bar none, is one of the absolute best restaurants. And it's also one of the prettiest restaurants in all of Northwest Arkansas. So I'm thankful for Matt Cooper. And wanted to also thank my buddies, Casey Baker over at Junk Brands, and his boss, Craig. And I appreciate just sitting down with Craig and learning more about Junk Brands, learning more about the outstanding golfer that he is, but then even more than that, just the outstanding businessman that he is, and all that he's been able to do with that really cool brand that's making a name for itself, both here in Northwest Arkansas, but then also around the country. And then I had a chance to sit down with Andy Wilson. Andy Wilson is a really, really great guy. He does a program called Doing Business in Bentonville. He was a former Walmart employee, had interactions and worked with Sam Walton and some of Sam's children at Walmart. And Andy has helped the vendor community navigate the Walmart Sam's Club playground, if you will, of opportunity. And Andy's just a really, really great guy. And so is Casey Baker. Casey actually is a dear friend of mine who introduced me to Andy. I am so thankful for Casey Baker and so thankful for Andy Wilson and all that they're doing here in this area. I also want to thank the folks at Food Loops. I had a chance to sit down with them, and I actually had a chance to sit down with Michael from Food Loops, and he's just an outstanding guy. He's a Hoosier, and we won't hold that against him. I'm just kidding, Mike. But in all seriousness, Food Loops is doing some great things in this community in terms of sustainability and avoiding waste for any of our outstanding programs. They actually participated in the Roots Festival, and for the thousands of people that came through there, that was almost a zero waste festival. I mean, it was the amount of waste was infinitesimal compared to the amount of potential waste it could have been at a festival of that size. And it was all because of Food Loops. So I'm real thankful for you guys and how you're giving back, not only to the community, but also to our environment and to the world. Also thank out for Jazzy J NWA. These ladies are more connected than anybody else in Northwest Arkansas. I look to them when I want to know what's happening and what's going on. I'm thankful for them and all that they're doing. Their episode 33 was the best, and I certainly want to encourage you to check that out. And by the way, any of our episodes you can listen to just by going to iamnorthwestarkansas.com/ the letters EP and then the number. And you can go to our site, and we have a list of all the podcast episodes for I Am Northwest Arkansas. So I certainly want to encourage you to check that out when you get a chance. Please share this with a friend or somebody else that you want to convince to move to Northwest Arkansas. And you're saying, they keep saying, well, why, man? Why should I move to Northwest Arkansas? Or, hey, girl, I don't want to move to Northwest Arkansas because I like Chicago, or I like San Francisco, or I like LA. You know what? Say, hey, I got you. Just listen to this podcast. That's why you should move to Northwest Arkansas. All these amazing people that are on this podcast, just come see what we're all about. We'll leave the light on for you. That's an inside joke. Anyway, I also had a chance to talk with Adam Evers. Adam Evers has released the Kraken of energy drinks with Blue Mania. The reason why I brought Adam on is that his one of his publicists reached out to me. Really interesting story that he had, and he was working diligently with local students that had been volunteering and interning with him to bring this energy drink to the U of A campus and to Northwest Arkansas in general. And we actually made this particular episode happen pretty quickly. And I sat down with him and was really taken by his genuine sincerity to create as healthy of an energy drink as could be created. And he just has a passion for it. And so I was thankful to have him on the podcast. And I'm thankful for you, Adam. Thank you very much. And then I talked with Jonah Summers. And Jonah is she runs Banshee Manor, which is one of the top scare sites in all of Northwest Arkansas and all of Arkansas, period. And Banshee Manor runs out of Locomotion every year in the month of October. And we had a really great time with that particular episode. I even changed around the music, the intro and outro music to get into the Halloween spirit. So I hope you enjoyed that episode. That was episode 35. At episode 36, I got a chance to sit down with the magnificent John Allen. John Allen and his wife are the founders of Onyx Coffee Labs. And I got to tell you, he took me to church when it came to understanding good coffee. He made me throw out some coffee that I had at my house, and I will not name the coffee company, but it rhymes with big bucks. Anyway, long story short, John really walked me through what good coffee is. And from now on, my mindset is at 86 or higher. And to get that reference, you need to listen to the episode. But John really breaks down why Onyx has been so successful, why they're so popular. And here's the thing, folks. You need to understand that true coffee lovers, like true wine connoisseurs, they know Onyx all over the world. They know Onyx in the United States. So when you go other places and people say, oh, I drink this Onyx coffee, you can say with pride, oh, that's cool. They're from Northwest Arkansas. Because John is throwing it down up there in the 1907 building in Rogers. And I got to tell you, if you go to the Onyx in Bentonville, great. If you go to the Onyx on Gregg and Township in Fayetteville, great. But I tell you, you need to go to the Onyx in Rogers. That is an experience in its own right. Highly recommend that you check it out. You'll thank me later. Now, after that, I've had a couple of really cool episodes. I got a chance to sit down with Paul Haas, who is the director of the SONA, which is the Symphony of Northwest Arkansas. And, you know, when I moved here, I didn't think that Northwest Arkansas had a symphony, but they do. And they're an amazing symphony. And Paul Haas is an amazing and super talented individual. I'm so thankful for him. He tells his story on the podcast. He talks all about what SONA is doing. Really want to encourage you to check out that episode. Then the next person I'm really thankful for is Rachel Fox from NWA Girl Gang. And she is a transplant like I am, and she came here with her husband and her kids, and she has a beautiful story, and I'm really thankful that she's in my world now, and that her family we're friends now, and I got a chance to know her and connect with her because of some other people. And so I just want to encourage you to check out NWA Girl Gang on Instagram and everywhere else that you can find them. But again, her name is Rachel Fox, and that was episode 38. You should listen to that when you get a chance. Episode 39, I got a chance to finally sit down with Jason Paul and his partner Danielle, who is a friend of mine. Again, there's that 2 degrees of separation. And that friend is Melissa Swan. So Melissa, if you're listening, thank you. Big shout out to you. I'm thankful for you all the time. But anyway, I sat down with Jason and Danielle and really had a chance to talk about Heirloom. Heirloom is one of the hottest restaurant tickets in all of Northwest Arkansas. It's very difficult to get a spot in there. I haven't been able to get a spot in there to eat, but I know that the food is great. And Jason Paul is the kind of guy that gives back to programs like Appleseeds and others. And everybody that has gone there talks about how amazing the food is. So you've got to check out Heirloom when you get a chance. And the cool thing about it is you can go to Heirloom and then you can go have coffee at Onyx because they share the same building, the 1907 building. So definitely check out episode 39 with Chef Jason Paul. And then episode 40 was a follow-up to the episode that I did with Paul Haas. And that episode, I got to sit down with Matthew Herron and Julianne Brown to talk about all of the amazing things that the symphony is doing. And it was a really, really good time that we had together with those guys talking about the symphony. And it was one thing that I learned in that conversation that was really helpful for me. And that was simply that kids get in free with the purchase of an adult ticket to the symphony. Definitely want to encourage you to take some people there, and especially young people, and expose them to the arts any way that you can. And SONA is one place where you can do that. But check out episode 40 of the podcast, which will kind of highlight you on that. And then episode 41 is Martha Londigan. That was just done a couple of weeks ago. And Martha is with Startup Junkie, and they are doing some amazing things in this area, all of Northwest Arkansas. The entrepreneurial movement is huge. And Martha really, she took me to school and gave me some history on her history in this area. She can date her family back through carbon dating back to the early 1800s. I'm being funny about the carbon dating piece, but they've been around for a while. And she has seen, she and her husband have started several businesses. They've had a lot of success in this area. She's an attorney. You really want to listen to this particular episode, especially if you want to start a business in Northwest Arkansas, or if you're thinking about relocating a business to Northwest Arkansas. Listen to that episode because Martha will really break it down for you. And then finally, Nate Walls does barbecue like nobody else. And I've actually had two barbecue people on this podcast. Obviously, Jordan Wright from Wright's Barbecue. And then I've got Nate Walls. And Nate Walls is doing his thing. And he has a program called Secondhand Smoke. The thing that really drew me to Nate, and I'm very thankful for him, is that he has a servant's heart. Now, just about everybody that I've interviewed has some variation of a servant's heart or the true servant's heart. So I'm not saying that. I mean, of course, and nobody's perfect. Neither am I. But this guy, Nate, is really doing some great things. And I'm thankful to be in his world now. And I'm trying to find people that can help him out. I mean, he does things at Seven Hills at the homeless center there. He does things with underprivileged youth. He's doing it all, and definitely want to encourage you to check out Secondhand Smoke. But that episode is episode 42. So like I said, you can go to iamnorthwestarkansas.com/EP42 and hear all that Nate is doing. And, you let me know for yourself what you think about him and what's going on. But that's all I have for right now. 42 episodes in. This is actually episode 43. And I am thankful for all that's happening. I got to tell you, folks, I've got some great organizations, and I've got some even greater people coming on this podcast in the next couple of months. I don't know how I'm going to be able to keep up this pace, so y'all pray for me. But I'm trying to make this work each and every day, and certainly could always use some help. And in 2020, there are going to be a lot of changes. I'm working on finding some sponsors for the podcast. I want to continue to expand, and I want to continue to use this platform to help as many people as I can, not just, help people that want to think about coming here to Northwest Arkansas, but I want to help the people that are already here. And I want this podcast, and I want the site, I Am Northwest Arkansas, to be a place that you come to find out more information about what's going on. There are a couple of new things that I'm going to be talking about in the coming weeks, especially during the Christmas week. I will not have a normal episode that week. That will be another week where I'll be really thankful for everybody and to tell you why and just to share some information about what we're going to be doing in the near future. It's going to be kind of like a two-parter. And I really want to encourage you, if you can get on my email list, if you're listening to this, please join our email list. Just visit iamnorthwestarkansas.com and you can join our email list there. It should pop up and prompt you to do that. We're going to be starting a weekly newsletter very soon, and I really want you to be a part of that. It's just going to expand some of our offerings, and we really want to kind of be everywhere that our listeners are, and making sure that we're giving them the best and most timely information possible, and also telling some great stories in the process. So that's all I really have for now. If you're listening to this before Thanksgiving, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. If you are listening to this after Thanksgiving, I hope that the tryptophan has not taken over your body, but that you're ready to wrap things up nice and neatly for 2019 as we get ready to move into a new decade. 2020 is going to be amazing. Just think, in 20 years, this area is going to grow to almost 850,000 plus people. We're adding 32.2 net new people a day. So that's pretty exciting. So, you might be listening to this a couple of years later. You might be listening to this the day after I actually record it. So either way, there's a lot of great things happening here in Northwest Arkansas. I'm glad you're either a part of it or considering being a part of it. Thank you for entrusting I Am Northwest Arkansas to be a part of your life as you move forward, as you plan to do things. Couldn't do it without you. Couldn't do it without your support. Remember, you can always check us out online at iamnorthwestarkansas.com. You can certainly leave a review for us wherever great podcasts can be found. And that's pretty much all I have for right now. So I'm going to cue the music in a second, and we'll fade on out. And I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you next week. Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. Check us out each and every week, available anywhere that great podcasts can be found. For show notes or more information on becoming a guest, visit iamnorthwestarkansas.com. We'll see you next week on I Am Northwest Arkansas.